The lawyer's name is Grayson. He sits behind a dark wooden desk, a window behind him looking out over a concrete parking structure. He slides a document toward you and asks you to sign on page 4. You sign without saying much. He hands you an official copy of a trust transfer. Your grandmother's name is printed across the top. She passed away 11 days ago. You hadn't spoken in 3 years. The distance between you was mutual, quiet, never formally addressed. Neither of you ever named it. Now there's no point in doing so. What matters is the figure on line 7, $1,470,000. After taxes and legal fees, $983,400 is deposited into an account under your name. You drive home in a 2014 Civic. The dashboard is cracked. The passenger window doesn't fully close. You think about that number the entire drive. The radio stays off. The transfer hits on a Wednesday. You check the balance. Then again. Then once more. The zeros stay exactly where they are. You're 34. You earn $61,000 a year managing inventory for a regional distributor. You've got $11,200 in savings. About $29,000 sits in a retirement account you barely think about. There's also $18,700 in credit card debt, and $214 left before your next paycheck. And now there's $983,400 sitting in a checking account, doing almost nothing. It's not exciting the way you expected. It's unsettling. Like walking into a familiar room where everything has been shifted slightly. It looks the same, but it feels off. You decide you won't touch the money for 60 days. You read that somewhere. It sounds like the right move. You last 19. The car is a Mercedes GLC 300. Fully loaded. The dealer calls it pre-owned, 14 months old, 9,400 miles. Sticker price, $58,900. You negotiate it down to $54,200 and feel disciplined doing it. You tell yourself it's practical. Your old car wasn't reliable. This is about safety. This is responsible. You write the check. It doesn't feel like spending money. It feels like permission. The balance drops to $929,200. You don't consciously track it. You probably should. Your mother calls. She has a situation. Your younger brother does 2 different problems, same conversation. Your mother needs $22,000 to avoid foreclosure. She frames it as a loan. You've never seen her repay one. You already know how this ends. You send the money anyway. Your brother needs $15,000 to settle a legal issue tied to a business that no longer exists. You wire it over. $37,000 gone. No paperwork. No repayment terms. No follow-up. You tell yourself this is what money is for. The balance is now $892,200. For about 6 days, you feel good about yourself. Your lease ends in March. You've been paying $1,100 for a 1-bedroom apartment for 4 years. Thin walls. Extra for parking. A coworker mentions a newer place on the north side. 2 bedrooms. Laundry inside the unit. Underground parking. $2,650 a month. You tour it on a Thursday. Quartz countertops. Clean lines. Quiet hallways. You sign the lease that same week. It's triple what you were paying, but you can afford it now. That's where something quietly shifts. Being able to afford something and it being the right decision are not the same calculation. You don't pause to consider that. You move in. Then you furnish it $14,800 at a store that calls itself a design studio. The balance falls to $877,400. You stop checking it every day. Your lifestyle starts forming its own gravity. It pulls things in. People you barely knew become more present. People you knew well start showing up with ideas. An old college friend reappears after 4 years. He's building an app. Needs $40,000 to get to his next funding round. He shows you a polished pitch deck. The idea sounds solid. He explains how your money will convert into equity at a discount once investors come in. You send $40,000. The funding round never happens. The app fades into the background. The money doesn't come back. The balance is now $837,400. You don't mention the investment to anyone. Meanwhile, your social life begins to reorganize around what you can now afford. Dinners get more expensive. You start picking up the check. You book better hotels on group trips. You cover the Airbnb without thinking twice. It all feels natural. At least at first. People say they'll split the bill, and somehow it never quite evens out. You're not tracking the numbers. That's the issue. Your monthly spending has climbed to $6,000 to $8,000, when less than a year ago it was $2,200. The increase doesn't feel dramatic in the moment. No single purchase stands out as reckless. Each decision feels reasonable on its own. Together, they aren't. 14 months after the money arrives, the balance is down to $74,000. You check it properly for the first time since buying the car. The number catches you off guard. You spend an afternoon going through statements, then convince yourself it's fine. There's still $74,000 left. That still feels like a lot. That thinking is expensive. Your brother calls again. This time, it's a business idea, a food truck. He has a location planned, a concept, and a used truck priced at $28,000. He needs $60,000 to get everything running. You negotiate him down to $50,000 and feel good about doing it. You send the $50,000 and agree to a 30% share with nothing more than a handshake. No contracts. No LLC. No written terms. 6 weeks later, the truck needs $11,000 in repairs. It wasn't part of the original budget. Your brother calls. You send another $8,000, telling yourself you're protecting what you already put in. The balance shifts again. At this point, you decide to find a financial advisor. This probably should have happened at the beginning, not now. The advisor isn't a fiduciary, though you don't think to ask. He suggests a mix of actively managed mutual funds, averaging about 1.4% in annual fees. He also recommends a whole life insurance policy that builds cash value over time. You invest $200,000 into the funds and pay $18,000 for the first year of the insurance premium. For the first time since the money came in, this feels responsible. Structured. Thought out. What's left in cash outside those investments is $428,000. Then something else comes along. At a dinner, through a chain of introductions, you hear about a storage facility opportunity 3 hours away. The pitch is clean. $120,000 gets you 20% ownership in a property with 340 units, currently at 71% occupancy. The projection shows it reaching 88% within 18 months. Estimated returns look strong. You don't independently verify the numbers. You don't have a lawyer review anything. You send $120,000. Now your liquid cash drops to $38,000. This is where things shift from bad decisions to a fragile structure. There's no buffer left for mistakes. The storage facility sends small distributions early on $3,400 one month, around $2,100 the next, then nothing. The contact becomes harder to reach. When he does respond, there's always a reason. Always a delay. Always a promise that things will stabilize soon. By month 9, you've received $5,500 total from a $120,000 investment. By month 12, the property goes into receivership. A letter arrives outlining potential recovery, somewhere between 11% and 18%. You don't rush to open the follow-ups. You already know what they'll say. Meanwhile, your $200,000 investment portfolio drops by 14%. It's now worth about $172,000. The market has been unstable. Your advisor tells you this is normal. He's not wrong. The fees, however, continue regardless of performance. He doesn't bring that up. The food truck shuts down in month 22. Your brother calls. He sounds genuinely sorry, but it doesn't change anything. The truck is gone. The remaining equipment is sold off. There's nothing left to recover. Your share is worth zero. You mentally write off the $58,000 and move on, because there's no alternative. Now you're left with around $130,000 in liquid cash and $172,000 in a declining investment account. Your monthly expenses are $7,400. They've been at that level for over a year. You haven't adjusted them. Your job still pays $61,000 a year, about $5,083 a month before taxes. The numbers no longer quietly drift. They start to press in. You're spending more than you earn, and the gap is no longer something savings can quietly absorb. The cushion that once made everything feel manageable is gone. You move into a cheaper apartment, $1,650 a month. The expensive furniture you bought for the luxury place looks out of place there. You list most of it on Facebook Marketplace and get $3,200. You originally paid $14,800. You keep the couch. The Mercedes payment is $714 a month. You owe $9,000 more than it's worth. You keep it for a while because selling it would force you to accept the loss, and you're not ready for that. Waiting costs you 4 more monthly payments before you finally trade it in and take the hit. Month 31. On a Sunday morning, you check your account balance, $34,700. Your mutual fund account has fallen to $158,000. Liquid and near liquid assets total $192,700. You started with $983,400. That means only 19.6 cents remain for every dollar you inherited. The money didn't disappear in one dramatic collapse. It vanished piece by piece. Every step had a reason behind it. None of those reasons seemed foolish on their own. But together, they created a system that failed gradually until it failed all at once. You tell your advisor to liquidate the mutual funds. After fees and taxes, you walk away with $141,200. Then you pay off the credit card debt that quietly returned during the last year, $23,400. What remains is $152,500. You are 37 years old. You have $152,500 left, a job that still pays $61,000 a year, and a deeper understanding of money than you've ever had before. That lesson cost $830,900. There is no refund. Now you understand things you didn't before. Cash in the bank is not financial security. A large balance is not the same thing as a plan. The people who care about you will bring you their struggles as soon as they believe you can help carry them. They aren't wrong for doing that. The problem is that you said yes without limits. Lifestyle inflation is dangerous because it doesn't look dangerous. There's no single reckless moment. Expenses just quietly rise until your normal becomes impossible to sustain. Money put into deals without contracts, structure, or proper review is not investing. It's giving money away and hoping for the best. And the hardest part of losing money isn't the loss itself. The hardest part is realizing that every decision felt reasonable, sometimes even noble, while you were making it. You helped your mother. You trusted your brother. You tried to make the money grow. None of those intentions were bad. But money doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to decisions. That truth stays with you. You didn't inherit a fortune and lose it because of bad luck. You inherited a fortune and, one decision at a time, revealed habits you didn't know you had. Your grandmother understood something you didn't. She held on to money for 40 years and never let it redefine her life. At one time, you might have called that restraint. Now it looks more like wisdom. Maybe that wisdom was tied so closely to her personality that it couldn't be passed on. Or maybe it could have been passed on, but you never thought to ask. You'll never know. And that uncertainty becomes part of the cost as well. Because in the end, the inheritance wasn't really the money. The inheritance was the chance to prove whether you could carry what she spent a lifetime protecting. And by the time you understood that, most of it was already gone.